Welcome back to the studio where we're gonna have a cozy little classic paint with me using the coolest new thing that I just got, which is KMS Watercolors sent me all of these new holiday sets. She does these really cute curations of colors for different categories. So we have Christmas card, we have feeling festive, we have cozy neutrals, which that color is so cool. I've never seen a watercolor in that color. Country Christmas, Gorge, this is just a classic. Vintage Christmas, so many goodies. I'm also curious what that looks like. Then I got this, and then she also sent me the advent calendar, which starts December 4th. And each day has a little, anyways, just thought I'd share. What it immediately made me think of, though, is Christmas trees, or holiday trees, however you want to see it. We have all these different greens, so I want to use those. And then we'll definitely use these at some point. I just put a poll on my Instagram about what should we use first. Biggest one. So anyways, we have done holiday trees before last year, but I have loads of new followers since then. So I thought we could do a new one. It would be a nice cozy paint with me, like a little blanket of winter. Where is it? Here it is. See, like this? And we just used one color. I think I used a Kuretake shade. And it was really cool because once we did the trees, then the insides of between them, their Cassandras effectively, were upside down trees. So cool. So we're going to do that on this page here using these for the first time. Let me situate. So we have our page. If you hear any little pitter patter in the background, it's Pumpkin being a playful little kitten. So this I just have to use first. I don't know about you, but that's what I'll be doing. So I'm not going to use this, I don't think. But then we'll for sure use these. This also doesn't look green, so oops, it also just popped out. I'm gonna stick it back in there. So we're not gonna use that, but these, we will use something from all of these. And then I also have this shade Mistletoe, also KMS Watercolors, that I will probably use too. So then we have our water cup. My energy might seem a little flurry today, and that's because I'm just so excited because these are so pretty. Anyways, we're just going to paint this today, chill out. I don't know about you, but around, honestly, mid-November, I start to get a bit of holiday anxiety just when it comes to, ooh. Oh, and we're using the number 2 brush. Anything I can link is linked in my bio, supplies-wise. And then I also have 15% off these paints she gave me to give you. This brand, KMS Watercolors, so that's in my bio too. But yeah, it just starts to feel a little chaotic. I naturally like to make gifts for everybody, and then I have actual work projects, and so there's just a lot going on. And ironically, taking time to paint, even though it is my job, but doing something like this really chills me out a little, and so I find it quite necessary during this time of year to still have these paint times. So I would recommend that to you as well. Remember, you can always use art to recharge around the holidays or in general. It doesn't even have to be the holidays. So I'm gonna do that. What I'm thinking is that we do each tree in its own color, and then we'll do the outside lines in a combination of the colors that we used. Also, I usually leave the page open to dry out, and I didn't do that, and so we're getting some bleed because the moisture has kind of come to collect in this part of the paper now that we're kind of at the back of the book. So we're just going to fill them in one by one. And I'm really liking how this paint seems to have a lot of different shades in it. I see some more blue areas, some more green areas. I just love getting new watercolor. It's so exciting for me. I'm going to crisp it up, and I'm just going to follow the lines that we had down by our outline, which was just freehand, kind of the gist of a Christmas tree with our next line. And as we do that, we're going to shrink the blank space inside and create a pattern. So that's fun. As we're doing this, and if you're painting along, how fun. Just send me a picture after, or join the Discord and post there so we can all see. But if you're just recharging along with this, welcome, get comfortable. We're settling in for a nice, juicy painting session where you don't need to do anything except watch and let your nervous system just calm down, go back to neutral. All we need to worry about is doing this painting. And pumpkin, everyone's trying to be calm and you're dancing around. Being calm and taking some time off, whatever it is that brought you here. So I'm going to use the tip just to get to those bits that I can't quite if my brush was flat. And that might have gone a little further than I would like, but there are no mistakes in this. What we can see though is, can you see how shimmery this is? So this is not an ad, I'm just extremely excited. What we have managed to do is our first negative space that's trapped off up here. So this triangle bit is now separate from all those inside bits. And so we're gonna just go at it, filling it in. It's not quite a triangle because it goes down this little area here. But we can smooth this up like this. Kind of makes like an upside down pokey B, which I don't think I'm gonna fill in because I think that would make it too thick. So we're gonna move along over here. Hello, pumpkin. She wants to play. She might make an appearance, we'll see. And so now at this point in the painting, we're not even, oopsie. Also, you know what I like to do with these? I like that they're paper because I can do a little swatch next to them. So I can refer to that whenever I need to. So we are going to just worry about filling in this shape we've created. It doesn't at all need to look like a tree. We're going to pass that stage of the piece. That was just the first line. All this needs to do is fill in. Oh, pumpkin. Please don't eat the paint, pumpkin. Pumpkin, curiosity killed the cat. So we're going to connect here. And all these little bits that are bleeding can just, pumpkin. We're going to use our imagination on what those could be. So maybe it's little ornaments or snow that's dangling from the tree. Pumpkin, we're kind of going for a calm vibe here, and you're not really helping with that. Okay, sorry about that. Honestly, this is a little bit of a chaotic recharge, huh? Pumpkin. I had to just put her elsewhere. So we can just focus on filling in, oh, she's back, these little lines. Now this one, we can fill in all the way because that thickness would match up. And then we're also going to make a little fill in right here. That would look like this. And honestly, that can connect. It's kind of case by case on if I like to connect it or not. Ooh, this hot cider shade is nice. So now we're going to do this top triangle. Oh my God, pumpkin. And then this little area in there is about the same thickness as, for example, here and here. So I'm just going to leave it as is, and then we're going to pop this card over here and move to a new color. I think one of these. Let's swatch them quickly and see what they look like. This looks nice and matte. Love it. And then Puddle could be kind of a non-shimmery version, ooh, of that. Okay. Let's go ahead and do another tree. Up here, I think in shade Ivy, Pumpkin has a cough. Please don't do that. All right, you know what? We're just gonna, we can't control everything, can we? So we're just going to paint with little pumpkin right here. So we will activate our Ivy shade. Oh, pumpkin. Oh, pumpkin. Okay, you know what? Everyone, including me and pumpkin, is just gonna take a deep breath and we're gonna rechange the energy that's happening. And we're gonna have a calm little reset. So we're gonna activate this nice mossy shade with a big deep breath in, deep breath out, and we'll start our tree. This one I kind of want to be like spikier. So it'll be smaller on the top. The one we just did was like a wider version. So then we'll connect these right here. This also seems to have a thicker line. Not entirely sure why, but sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. And then let's go a little bit further. This can be a little crooked, honestly. This kind of looks like a tree in a storybook. A little wonky, but charming. Which is how I might describe myself on some days. Then we'll use one big sweep to connect these bottom layers. Ah! Goodbye. And then I'm going to take my point and pointify that right there. Okay. And then we're going to go back in to here. So as we're doing this and we're taking over the white space on our page with green, I want us to envision that we're inside a very nice, cozy cabin in the woods, and the snow is falling, and we have a delicious drink of choice. Mine would be an Ovomaltine. And we're watching the snow fall over the trees outside. And they're kind of creating these big fluffy white trees covering all the green. And we're doing the inverse, so covering the white, but it's the same vibe. It's just kind of a blanket of winter and coziness. And it's very silent in this imaginary cabin. No one is bothering us. We don't need to worry about what anyone else thinks of anything. We can just exist and enjoy whatever it is we're enjoying. Maybe it's simply looking out the window. Maybe it's doing a lovely little jigsaw puzzle. Let's make our way around that. It's gonna look like that, I guess. Maybe it's cooking a roast dinner. Whatever makes you feel coziest is happening in your, I want to say chateau, in your cabin or chalet. A lot of C words going on. So with this, we've divided our tree into 3 sections. They all kind of divide differently. That's the beauty of the Handmade. So with this one, we'll fill in this top section. Do you know what, also, as far as number 2 brushes go, which is the brush I'm using and mostly use all the time, this one's quite wide. Like, it's the same size as all the others, but it's widened out sooner than the others have. I wonder if I have been pressing on it weird, or maybe the bristles are looser. I don't know. But that's okay, we still have our little tip. But I do find that it makes things kind of wider. This looks like this tree is definitely a tall woman with her skirt over here. Now it's interesting that this pigment doesn't bleed as much. It might be something in the sparkle. Let's compare. Whoa, there's a bird fight going on in the trees. There's just a lot going on today, isn't there? But we don't need to worry about it. This is your little reset. Okay, that's connected pretty well, I would say. Oh, also, as this has dried, look, it's kind of become a bit blue. That's really pretty. Maybe we'll hold off on putting it in this piece then. Now, interestingly, we've created this pretty even triangle. Let's go like this. Then get back in there. This is probably going to be thick enough that it will fill in entirely, is my guess, but let's see. Maybe not. Okay, just like that. That's very sweet and I'm very into it. So let's scooch on down our page. And how many more can we fit? Maybe 3. And let's look at these colors that we have. Christmas Tree Farm. I mean, that would make sense to use that, right? But this one kind of feels like the shiny version of this. So maybe we do that here, and then a 3rd one in the middle, and decide what that is once we get there. I think could be mistletoe as well. Why am I whispering? I don't know. All right, so garland. We're going to activate it. So I'm dipping between my brush in a lot of water, and then I like to do circles on my pigment, and then we kind of get this liquidy layer on top like this, kind of like a puddle, and then we're ready to use it. So I think I'm going to do it a little more off the center here, just so so we can try and fit in as many colors as we can. Oh my God, I love this color. This is a divine. How holiday. I feel like I sit down at the end of, or 2/3 of the way through the month, and I think about what I would like to create for the next month, and I've never had so many ideas for one month as I had for this December. I'm really excited. I think I kind of want to get into working more with structures and houses, and I think I want to start with a gingerbread house. So that's probably going to be coming soon. Look at the folds in this paper. This definitely would go off the page if we're being realistic about it, which we're not always, but apparently we are right now. Oh, someone has calmed down. Very polite. No warm pumpkin. Good job. What was I even saying? I'm not sure. This is just, oh yeah, the gingerbread house. I'm excited to see that. I don't know what that will look like as a Zen Doodle, but it's happening. So with this, I kind of have to guess where that would go and lead to decide where the line will go. And I guess I decided here. Remember, there's no pressure on it being right. It just needs to be. Because once the outline of this tree is done, its purpose as a tree doesn't matter so much anymore, because we just want to use it as a way to get more lines on our page. It's kind of like a template or a boundary. So like this, we'll just follow all the lines that we have down. And let them connect. I'm really into this color. What else should we make with this color? We haven't done leaves in a while, and I feel like leaves in shimmer could be really cool. I see a lot of kind of leafy colors going on. Definitely the jade, all kinds of stuff. So now let's come along here. They're definitely going to touch, which is just fine. It's the same inner line, so it's totally cool that that happens. Even if it was not the same line and they touched, it would also be totally cool that it happens. I feel like there's this misconception that, can you hear Pumpkin's little struggled breathing because she has a cold? But it does not matter at all if your lines touch, unless, of course, your goal is to make the lines not touch, in which case you're practicing your brush control and consistency. But my lines just don't touch because that is how I paint typically, but it doesn't mean anything about your lines. They can be however you'd like. But if you do want more advice in brush control, I do have a whole video on that on this channel, which if you're not subscribed to, please click subscribe. So we're gonna have everything come down and then extend outward like so. And then we kind of have these two sections again. This one, which will probably, oh no, you know, these touch and these don't touch, but it's definitely 3 sections. Oh, sorry, I'll try and put this in. Where is my voice gone? What the heck? Pumpkin, have you contagious me? Maybe the page has been able to dry out now, which is not why the bleed isn't happening. I actually have no idea why that happens, aside from the moisture, but that's a guess. So now with this inner diamond situation. It's kind of going to be like a just fill in stitch. Love that. And then we'll restock on our paint and we'll get up in here, down the side. Anyways, the overstimulation on the holidays, it's just so real. So I'm glad that you found this video to let yourself reset to. And if you're not, I really encourage painting along. Not that you have to get up and do that right now if you're not feeling like it. I have loads of videos with different designs if you just want to pick a random one day, but I feel like when you're so emotionally depleted, which is what happens to me, at least around the holidays, it can be really tricky to pick up a new hobby, or maybe it's re-pick up a hobby that you used to do a lot just because it's not in your norm of what you've been usually doing. However, kind of counterintuitive, but it's going to use a different part of your brain than you've been using in what's depleted you. And it really helps to calm you down, you plural of course, and find some peace. And so I think if you paint along with me and we do it together on whatever video tickles your fancy, it's like kind of like we're doing it together, and then it's less, not even daunting is the word because it's totally manageable, but less of an unknown, I would say. Okay, now we've made this nice triangle here, which will go in just like this. How is it doing in our little cottage? Cozy? I hope so. Just want to crisp that up a little bit, and then we're going to move to a new area of the paper, and I cannot wait to use that one. So, okay. If we look at what we have going on so far, I think what could be nice is if we do like a central tree here, and then a bigger one down here. I think could be kind of cool. So I'm looking at the colors, and we're going to use Christmas Tree Farm, of course. But I've noticed this one's also called Underneath the Tree. So I think that is who we should also use, don't you think? So I think we'll do Christmas Tree Farm first as our smaller one, and then we'll fit in our larger one right there. So let's all look at this together and activate. When it's dark, it can be hard to tell what it looks like. Let's do a little, looks like a very dark sparkly green. Let's also swatch that while we're here. Oh, it might be honestly black with green sparkles. That's pretty cool. Well, we are gonna find out, aren't we? So I'm gonna go here. Yeah, I think it is black with green sparkles. That's fun. I've never used a watercolor like that before. And look, by just the way the cookie's crumbling, it's kind of falling within this zigzag of this tree here, which is exciting. So let's match that over here. I'm gonna thicken that up just so it's a little more aligned. pumpkins now, watching very intently. Very good little apprentice I got. When I was young, my dad used to go get a tree from, I don't know if it was the woods or somewhere behind our house, and we would have that in the living room. And it was not a farmed Christmas tree, so it was extremely natural and often very scraggly. And it always made us laugh because it would have a lot of gaps in it, but it did mean you could you could see the ornaments really well, but it's kind of charming in its own way. So I'm going to smooth out this line here. I think it could use a bit of that. And we just uncover all these nice trees outside our window. I like how the composition isn't, whoa, this is really cool. Look at that. I like how the composition isn't perfect. It's going to give us lots of fun bits to play with. And then that's going to come down here and here. Now these should definitely connect, but I'm going to do this side first. And then same here. Just so we can kind of get a lay of the land. I think that would naturally kind of go like this. Okay. And then here. That was a particularly satisfying one. Now this connection up here. Oh, that reminds me what I was saying before. I saw a comment recently of someone saying, how do you, okay, I might be paraphrasing here, but how do you not get frustrated when it's not symmetrical? And this was, I was specifically in that case drawing some loopy flowers. It was the teal sparkly ones, if you saw those, that was last week. And they're like, how does it not upset you when it's not symmetrical? Like, basically, I'm annoyed. And it doesn't upset me because that's not my goal, for them to be symmetrical. So with each of these, there's kind of an intention. And here for this one, my intention clearly is to experiment with this new beautiful colors that I have. So how exactly the shape looks is not a, like, I don't really care. It's not so much of a concern with me. It's more like I'm using the brush to get shapes down on the page, and then I'm using the precision of following the lines to relieve some anxiety and stress, which is always a micro goal, at least for me with these, and I'm sure you too, although it doesn't have to be. And I'm gonna put this back in here. And granted, there are definitely times when my goal is for it to look as crisp as possible. So I'm not saying it's not a good goal to have that, but I was telling the person who commented this that it wasn't my goal, just in case they hadn't thought about that part of it. Because if you're in your mind, you're doing a Zen Doodle because you're stressed and you want to give your brain a little something else to focus on. But then it's your kind of subconscious brain, but then your conscious brain is focusing on the perfection of it. Those are kind of two contrasting things. And so that's not going to be harmonious in your mind. So I for sure encourage doing a bit of a mental check at the start and just getting clear on what your intention is and making that your focus. So if it's to play with these colors, if the trees are not the same shape, for example, when I step back and look at this tree here, this part is not symmetrical to that part at all. But I'm kind of going for like a whimsical, snowy cottage feel paired with testing my new colors. Nowhere in there did I say to myself I wanted perfect trees. So just some thoughts for your own practice. So we're going to warm up underneath the tree, which is like a nice earthy green, but at the same time shimmery, which is a really cool combo. And we'll create our top bit. I don't know if this one can be very symmetrical because it would hit this guy. So I'm just going to go with the flow, my favorite place to go, and see what happens. Wow, this one's heavily pigmented, which I love when that happens. So then we'll kind of do the same on this side. Stretch it out. And then I don't want to come too far in. But I want to try and, I think that makes sense. Should we make this one have 4 layers? Why not? They've all been 3-tiered trees, but every tree is different. It's like a little snowflake. I saw the coolest cat furniture that was actually a Christmas tree, or vice versa. But there were little holes for the cats to go in, and it was made of scratch furniture. And I am not going to be here for actual Christmas this year because I'll be visiting my sister. So I don't exactly need an actual tree, even though it's vibes. But it's nice to have something to put the gifts under and things. Like as I wrap my gifts, before I give them out, I always put them under my own tree just so it looks nice. So I was thinking I could get that, and then Ryan and Parmesan would have the best Christmas ever. But I just remembered it right now, and it's already December, so I don't know if I should do that. But that's my thoughts there. So often I found as we get to the corner of the paper, it's more crinkly, and I kind of need to go over things more. This looks like a very tall tree, doesn't it? Oops. Let's swatch this actually while we're here. I'm going to get some more. Sometimes it just takes a little more of a connection or layer. There's some silver from the candy canes we just did. Okay, this is a nice big tree. Let's look at the whole thing. Totally looks like a forest with all different heights and perspectives and colors, the light hitting it different ways. How are things in your cottage with all the snow falling down and the warmth and the fire crackling? I love a crackling fire contained to its fireplace, obviously. Kind of feels very sloopy as we move up on these branch areas. Oops, almost got my hand in there. Okay, pumpkin is confirmed asleep, which is great. That was the most zoomiest I've ever seen her, but I think she is now a teenager technically. So maybe she was just having an outburst. I don't know, but it was kind of funny. So I don't always go in order because I kind of just go for what feels right or best to do next. Also, I typically like to do whatever is longest first because that will dictate more of how the design is going to go. So if you're wondering about that, that would be why. I'm going to clean that up, but I have too much on my brush right now, so I'm going to deposit it elsewhere where we'd need a nice big stroke. And where even was that? Oh, here. Like so. Then we're going to come down here. I really feel like a pastry right now. I feel like eating one. I don't feel like one myself. Wonder what that would feel like. I don't know. Okay, let's take this down as far as we can go. I'm also going to crisp out this little point. And then we have our bottom bit ready to connect. And we've kind of run out of pigment there, so I'm going to use the last of what's on the brush, which isn't enough for a full stroke, just to perfect those areas. Hesitated because I didn't want to say perfect, but that is what I was doing. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 separate little sections. Starting in the top, which might kind of close out as one thing. Oh, that might have been a little thicker than it should have, but shoulda, woulda, coulda, doesn't really matter. After this, I'm going to go on a little walk in my neighborhood to run an errand. And then tonight, very excitingly, I'm going to a Lakers game with my friends. I've never been to a Lakers game. I have lived in LA a very long time. No, not a very long time. 7 years. And I've never been. So I'm excited to do that. But I'm also excited to have this little time to myself right now with Pumpkin, of course, because while I love the concept of a game and I'm very excited, I'm going to be in a room with so many people and that might zap me. But actually these particular friends I'm going with are the kind of friends that I don't ever get depleted around, so maybe it'll all balance itself out. I kind of feel like that's what'll happen actually, so I'm super excited. So this one isn't quite a triangle because we have this extra little divot down here because this bottom branch was a little longer than the one on the left. Oops, sorry, I think it skipped ahead there. But we're just doing this line on the side Then we come back and pointify. Once we finish this little section, we'll have done phase 2 of our piece. And as a reward, I'm going to show you how Aioli, Pumpkin's sister, has been sleeping for the last 30 minutes. And I'm so jealous. She looks so, like she doesn't have a care in the world. Okay, then we're going to come back this side. Boom, boom. And then we can get in there with that little triangle. I like to see the little seeds and bits on the paper just as kind of freckles. So just move around them. Okay, let's look at Aioli. That's how she's been sleeping, on our little heated blanket. There's a heat pad under there. How nice. Yo-yo! Yeah, she's out like a... Oh, she heard something. Oh, Aioli. Meanwhile, this one gave up on trying to eat my computer cord and is now cuddling with it. Normal. As for the rest of us, here is our composition. This looks so whimsical to me. I'm into it. So we've used this green, so I'm going to put it aside. Oh, pumpkin. We still have emerald, jade, and mistletoe, which looks like a viridian, but I'm not sure. Why don't we do this one first? Oopsie. And I think how we're going to do this one, and then we'll move into these right here. How we'll do this one is just go once around each, and then those lines will kind of expand. Also, let's take a look at the shimmer of these. Really nice. All right. Sorry that the focus goes in and out. I am not a professional. All right, so we have mistletoe. I like these little squares because you can just pop them down on your paper. Also, they're magnetic and they go in a tin and you can arrange them and like put whatever ones you want. Blah, 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 blah. So that's cool. All right. Now I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna look. Is my focus on? No. Oh, I got some on me. Whoa. Whoa. I think this will look cool around here. Why am I so messy today? All right. Whoa. This is a beautiful color. And my brush is just thick. I don't know what. I'm just gonna lean into it. I'm gonna come down here just so I don't have to put my arm in any wet paint as we go. And then this one here. Wow, you know, I haven't had a watercolor green like this. I've actually had this shade for a while. I got it when I first got that sparkly pink. That was the first one in this book. But believe it or not, I had not used it till now. So I'm glad that I am because I'm happy to see I have this color. I've said this before, but for some reason I haven't. I love the green shades of watercolor that I have. And honestly, I have so many, but for some reason, the green that I always envision using, I never quite have, but this is very close to it. Now that, I'm going to add more pigment too so you don't quite see that combination there. Okay, we'll pick up speed our way along the bottom. This is a very bleedy color. I wonder what that is. And then we will connect down here, following the contours that we've made, like so. Okay, so I'm going to pop that down, and we're going to pick up another green. I think we do this jade shade because one, it rhymes, and two, it's nice and contrasty from this first one we used. Ooh, it's kind of like if green and gold had a baby. Very earthy, but also festive because sparkles. Whoopsie. I have like a neon green and a lime green. But I kind of just want this painting to be my new colors, because if I open it up to all my greens, we might start to go crazy. And I kind of, by we, yeah, I mean me, I quite like to have a limited palette, so a predetermined range of colors. It just keeps things kind of cohesive sometimes, and that is the mood that I'm in. So it's quite similar to this one, but more yellowy. We're gonna do this one like we did that fall leaves painting, or was it gourds? Maybe it was both. I forget which one I did on YouTube and which one I did on Shorts and TikTok. Okay, then we're gonna come around. Now we're getting to a bit of a juncture. Do we want to go through there? Let's see. I think it can go through, yeah. So we'll connect here, and then we're gonna bring this line out. Kind of like that, I guess. Now let's move into emerald, and I think emerald would be nice around our Christmas tree farm tree. Let's come a bit closer, shall we? Activate. Oh, I just noticed it's called pine cone. That could be cute to have little sprinklings of that somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know about this particular piece. Okay. Oh, this is also kind of a dark undertone, which is cool because these two are quite am I okay? Contrasting, whereas this is more similar, and I wonder visually what that's going to do to our composition. This is definitely a experimental type of piece. I also, what I do to kind of keep sane and organized is I have pieces, and I have even whole sketchbooks where I'm like, this is experimental. I'm trying to work out my idea, or I'm trying to not be stressed, or whatever it is. And then I have others where it's the whole purpose is to create kind of my final piece. And I think setting that at the start really helps manage expectations. And I go a little more into that in my Q&A, which I believe came out on Wednesday. And I don't remember where I was going with that, aside just from to tell you about it. Oh, but here, look how nicely that fits in. Wow, that's satisfying. Here is we're really just having a play, which is so necessary as adults. We're not always allowed to do that, but we are today. Okay, now I'm going to come down here. And then we just have that one bit, as well as this little rectangle that we made is cute. Is that even a rectangle? It's more like a weird long king size pillow that's not very fluffy. Okay, awesome. I think on this one, I would like to do Ivy from the Cozy Neutrals palette. Ooh, that is such a cool color. I can't wait to use that. It's kind of like the non-shimmery version of the teal we used for those flowers that we did recently, if you saw that. I feel like when we get into the corner of the page, it can be kind of hard to see, so let's move this around. And sorry, my arm is going to cover it for part of this, but you know what? Maybe you've been zoning in and out of sleep and you do not care that my arm goes over for part of it, which would be nice. So this here is going to go down and come back out. So let's do the coming back out while we're here. And then we can go in, fill in, great. Now we're going to come back to this, but I'm just going to do the line now so we know what we are working with. And we have this kind of awkward little triangle, so I'm just going to include her in what we're doing right now, because that's the right thing to do. Then we're going to make our way covering any area that is an outline of this, what was this shade? Garland tree, which I just love the color of. And it's kind of like a puzzle, like doing all anything that touches garland or is related to touching garland, as in gets all up in there, will be included for now. And then we kind of get to follow each line we've made, like a little puzzle or challenge. Thrilling. That's my neighbor making bird sounds, and it has woken up Pumpkin. Everyone is stirring. Hey, Pumpkin. Hey. You know, I can't see if you're standing right there. Good morning, Pumpkin. Okay, we'll get... She's gonna hop onto my lap. Good job, little cat. That's perfect. And then I am going to use the tip of my brush just to get into here. Pumpkin, you should finish that nap you were just doing. It seemed very nice. So this line, unbeknownst to me when we started, is actually going to take up a lot of real estate, which is kind of cool. So we're going to go into this crevice. And that's going to be a full fill-in, I think. Then it's going to come out that crevice. And before we move along too far, I just want to address this bit so they don't get forgotten about. We're going to go down one side, down the other. Pumpkin has settled down again. Oh, I jinxed it. Okay, actually I think this would come down a bit. Okay. That's fun. I feel like with most things being shimmery and then us also having, let's move this down, this quite matte shade as well, it just makes things feel a little more grounded and earthy, and I really like that contrast. We're kind of starting to see our upside down trees emerge, right? So fun. Are we in frame here? I'm manifesting it, but one day I'll have a producer who can make sure all the shots get what I'm painting in and we don't miss anything and you get a great angle. One day. Pumpkin's giving us a little purr track. Thanks, girl. Okay, so let's see. This is going to come around like this, around like this. So this line is going to give everything a outline, which I think is quite nice given that whole grounding thing I just said. Pumpkin, you gotta pick a position, please. And then we come up here and around the side. I really love this color. What was that? That was jade. No, that was underneath the tree. It's really pretty. Be a nice color for a holiday dress. I feel like I can see House of CB making something in this color. You know, perfect Christmas dress. Now let's move this along. Can you see that? I think so. So let's just use our imagination. It's going to come around here, do this upside down Christmas tree, and then come out there. Whoa, this kind of looks tie-dye, doesn't it? That is so pretty. Oh my gosh. See, it's like blue, then it's more green. Oh, I love this color. Oh my gosh. We'll be using that again. Anyway, just for hand purposes. Oh, Ioli has stirred. I'm gonna do here first so then I'm not going over wet paint potentially. So that means getting in here, out the side. Oh, bye pumpkin. Oh my gosh, I can't get over this shade. She must have added in blue and then kind of mixed it not entirely. I mean, I actually don't know how you make watercolor, but if I was to give it a go, that would be what I'd do, and I love it. So we're using the tip again. I also like this method of using multiple colors under the same color family, so green, but also doesn't have to be that way. Could just be ones that you like, or ones that you despise and just want to use up, because you get to see what combinations of things look good together for future projects. So for example, I really like how this and this look together, and I might not have had an opportunity to test them out with each other had I only been making pieces that were, this is a final, will be perfect piece, quote unquote. So that's why I love just having these let's try that again, shall we? Experimentation moments and times. There we go. Yikes. Okay. So we're gonna make our way around this lovely tie-dyed shade. Up. In like that. And because of this bleed, we've kind of got some interesting shapes. So I'm just gonna follow them with my line, especially this bump, just for fun. I think we have the kind of in and out pointy down in so many places. Oh, I just realized that's a nice area too. That we have the freedom to kind of experiment. So then, now that that's done, we're going to turn this around and complete. Actually, I don't really want to move that. Complete this side. Can you see that okay? Hiccup. All right. Should we do a whole page with that mistletoe? Yes, I think so. So now that we have this kind of earthy shade, I think the next color I'd like to do, because, bless you, because it's going to pretty much touch everything, is a more either mistletoe or this first, maybe the first shade that we did, and then we'll do mistletoe. Just so we bring some balance in. And then with whatever is left, which I don't think will be much, I'd like to use one of these two kind of goldier shades. So that was jade or underneath the Christmas tree. Underneath the tree. I don't know why I added Christmas in there. So go around. And close off. And again, noticing a pattern. We have this king size pillow, not very fluffy shape. Like it was lied on the side all night, or laid on. Words are hard. Oh, maybe we're making another one right here. Oh no, this is more of a little triangularly shape. Triangly. So we are now at the edge, which is a bit tricky to do. So we just try our best. And we're not at the part where it's impossible yet, so we'll just be grateful about that, I guess. And then I want to just give that a little bit of a crispify. And then let's look at things. Okay, well, loving it, loving it, loving it. And yes, confirmed. I would like to use that shade again, which has pumpkin marks all over it. Oh, and pumpkin got it in Holiday Swirl. Take that out. So I'm gonna wet it. Come back with a wet brush, take off more. we'll use this one soon. It's a really pretty color. I wonder how exactly it will go. Okay, anyways, let's start up here. So I'm gonna try and get this in an optimal position. And back to Shade Noel, Kimberly Noel. Okay. So obviously I spy on my neighbors. I mean, I actually don't spy on my neighbors. My neighbors are constantly in my direct view, even if I'm just trying to work at my desk or eat my lunch. And I'm not the best with sound, and so I don't actually always hear what they say. I hear them laughing and I hear them coughing. But recently there have been all kinds of characters at their house, and I'm trying to work out how they're all related. Do you ever do that when you go to a restaurant and you see some people eating together and you're like, I wonder what their relationship is? I've been playing that with myself. Bit weird. I hope they never watch my YouTube channel. They don't really seem like the kind, though. Not that I know what the kind is, but I would define it as people who appreciate slowing down. Would you say that's you? So we're just going to make our way across, and it's cool how our pattern has made it happen where there's just one big line down the page. Then we have this little bit right here. Okay. Now let's go into the center and do these bits. Then we'll do these. Actually, just so I don't need to worry about it, why don't we get this side done? And worry I would, because it's close to the center there. Whoop. Lack of control. Oh, I guess we are going all the way around. Okay. There's quite the cacophony outside my house. We have the laughing, we have the smoking, we have the leaf blowing, we have the helicopters, we have the construction, we have the birds, we have the... I think that's it. Oh, there's the odd truck sometimes. I do live by a hotel, which gets lots of deliveries. All kinds of things. Oh, we have our first kiss of the piece right in the corner. They think they're subtle, not showing us their kiss, but we see you, little lover lines. And around the top right here. Can't get over this. That is just so cool. Anyway, and we go down. We fill out this area. Very sweet. Just want to fill out that some more. Okay, and then, nice, that's done. We're gonna move down and do a bit of these little bits. This one will definitely close out with this line, so we'll let that happen. I can't wait to eat Christmas cookies. What's your favorite? My family makes these ones called kipples, which every time I try and text autocorrects to a body part, but it's basically a lot of butter. They're great. My sister and I will make them this year. Yeah, what's your favorite? I'm always looking for a new holiday cookie recipe. Actually, that's not true. I am only around the holidays doing that, but that's right now. So, drop your fave. That was a very satisfying little triangle, don't you think? Now let's go ahead and do, I'm actually gonna do down the bottom, then re-up my paint, flip my brushes like this, flip it like this, on the top, just because then there's less flip-flop. And now we're gonna do this upside down tree. And there's still plenty more, don't worry, you don't have to go people yet soon. I mean, we're well over halfway, but we're gonna gentle exit from this. I really don't like abrupt exits, I've noticed in life, whether that's, well, especially a TV episode that you're so engrossed in and then it's just like, boom, cliffhanger. Unless I'm sat doing a marathon and I can immediately click on the next one, I find that a bit annoying. Also, do you know what I love about Love Island? No one asked. Is UK clarification that they don't really do that. Like each episode, for the most part, gives you a juicy thing, and then we'll end. Whereas I don't like when they're doing a recoupling or something in the US one, and then you think you're about to know, and then the episode ends. It just, I don't know, I think it unnecessarily brings my heart rate up. And I get that's what people are addicted to, but I am not, so don't like it. Now we have this bottom crevice. Let's bring our little paint color in here, shall we? This also has some blue in it, but like in a different way. It's kind of like a nice navy undertone. I think navy will always be one of my favorite cousins. Wow, interesting. Colors. My friend has a baby called Navy, which is so cute. The name, but also she's so cute. And then we come back around for this loop of the tree. And we come over here. That was my stomach rumbling, if you heard that. I don't know why, I had a delicious grilled cheese about 2 hours ago. All right. Got some rosemary bread at the farmer's market on Saturday. Now I would like to move back into shade Mistletoe, and while we're here, we're just going to do that same area. I actually don't think I'll color in that, but I will thicken it up so it looks a little more sense-makey. Totally a word. Okay, let's see if it does that same thing it just did over there on that top tree. Although we're not really gonna know until it dries. but that's okay. We are not in a rush. That might have gone out a little far, huh? Oh well. Oh my god, I think it is going to do it. Let me get in these, and this will be the end of these two little bits. Love to see it. Let's try up in here. It's funny how different it looks when it's dried. That's just classic watercolor. But see, this is this. It's a little lesson in patience, right? I don't know how I managed to turn everything into a lesson either, but I really don't mean to. It just like, I don't know, I just feel like it's so naturally is a nice little metaphor for stuff sometimes. I'm a very visual person, if you didn't know, so I feel like that kind of just happened. Okay, let's do our nice line down the side from top to bottom. Actually, let's also do this bit here. And then connect and up the side. And I would like to make that a little more consistent, I think. Okay. So there we got to follow those lovely wiggles from the bleed from a few lines ago. Just love how it's just that little ripple, it just kind of has turned into this whole thing that we couldn't predict. I find so fun. Wow, my stomach's really on one. Oh, sorry, I might have been out of frame. Two in the zone. Okay, then we have one last section with this color, which is going to be right here. Oh, whoopsie. Should wash my hands before I touch anything, in particular the white cat. Oh, I see what's happening here. Okay. We're just gonna plop it on the ground. There aren't really many times where I don't have paint on my hands, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Gonna have to come in from the side here. All right. Oops. Oops. Not a good angle. Come around this side. And then I still like my idea of using one of the goldier shades. Oh, this is just a whole mess, this area. Which one? I kind of think this one. So that's Jade. Okay, goodbye mistletoe. I'm very excited to see how that develops. And then while we're here, we will use the same area. I'm gonna swatch Jade real quick. And actually, on second thought, I think this underneath the tree would bring it a little more balance. Oh, definitely need some more water on my brush there. Ooh, feathery. Oh, you know what? That's okay. Could be cool to do a snowflakey piece in different shades of the blue. Don't you think? This as well. All right, turning our picture around, we're going to return to the top with underneath the tree our little petal. Oh, the tie-dye thing did happen again. Love. Then we'll bop along to down here. Again, we have some bleed going on. I see something that's bothering me. Now this kind of looks like there's a tree on this side that's then putting its branches over here, you know? Quite cute. We have those crispy edges or crinkly. Let's get in here just a little bit. Here we have some remnants of a page before. Goodbye. This will close out that one. They've got smaller as we've gone, so that one's already closed. This will take one, that will probably take two. Then we also have our bottom corner. Whoops. And then I think we can put a little tiny sliver of something. Yeah. Now I think let's go back into this garland shade that I really like. I feel like the Grinch. And we'll activate real quick. And then trace below our last line. And then we're gonna have a little bit going in here. Kind of just guessing because I can barely see. Okay. Then, this paint smells really good. It smells like cinnamon spice. Then we're gonna go up here. And we just have a few lines left. Probably 2 or 3 colors is my guess. So get ready to think about emerging, not necessarily full emerging, but have it in your vicinity. Okay, then we move along to these sides here, and I'm going to go from the bottom upward. I want a little more pigment on that. This one looks particularly grinchy. I don't know why. Just a little twist on the top of the triangle. Here. And then, of course, our big corner. So down one side. Awesome. Now, why don't we do this darker shade? Peppermint, no, not peppermint mocha, Christmas tree farm. So we'll go into this triangle. Around our curves. Oh, and we can fit in the last of this triangle here. Boop. And then a tiny bit in this one. And then we're going to turn our page so we have access to what would be the top left corner. Oops, I just splattered paint because I touched my binder clip. That's okay. So get in here and pull up, and maybe add a little. Now, I don't want to keep flipping for just 3 sections, so we're going to choose all our colors right now that will close this out. Whoopsie, next being jade. So we've used almost everything twice, I think. Jade. Then let's do emerald. Emerald. Emerald City is stuck in my head. And then we have one more, but we've used everything once. So I think what we'll do is just mistletoe again, because that's fun. Get that in the corner, and then we want to remember that pattern as best we can. So we did jade next. Feels like painting with an ancient gold. Then we have emerald. Ooh, need more water on that. Okie dokes. And then we don't have space for anything more. But we have the last section, so let's soak this in. Then we're going to look at everything from above, see the shimmer, and then we are going to either go to sleep or emerge. I've lost track. Oh, Christmas tree farm. And we'll be great. So we're going to come down here. Goes off the page, but we will pick it up for this last section of this triangle. Then we had jade. Candy cane lane looks pretty too. And jade is going to be the last one here. I'm going to step back, but first show you how our water is looking. The water, when we're using sparkly paints, always looks really cool. Watch this. You can kind of see the sparkles come up. So let's have a look at it all, shall we? And I'd like to compare to the last time we did this, just for fun. Cool, it does look like there's kind of different shadows and bits. Let's look at the shimmeriness. Very festive. Now we can unclip. This is still a bit wet, so I'm going to try and be careful. We need to make our way all the way back to the green section. Here we go. Oh, so these ones were smaller and wider. Okay, so let's notice how, because they were smaller, there was more white space. So we have this repeating patterns able to happen here, here, a little here. Whereas these are bigger, so there's less opportunity for that and more kind of play in the middle of the trees. And neither is right or wrong. It's just kind of interesting to compare. Anyways, I hope that was fun for you. We'll do one little shot of the kitten sleeping to send you off. Don't forget to like and subscribe. A lot of shimmery. This is that flowers one, if you didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, okay, let's go say goodnight to the kittens. All right, I hope you're feeling less stimulated and that you're ready to attack whatever happens next with some peace, just like Aioli sleeping, Pumpkin sleeping on Aioli's bum. Okay, see you guys later. Oh, she's awake.